And during these minutes, our attention is on the soul. And this attention helps the soul become conscious, awake. For the invisible soul that is awake, he sees the invisible presence. Invisible presence has a home. We see this home in the image of a sky. And this invisible soul is also the invisible traveler. He comes in this physical world as a traveler, invisible traveler. He knows he's completely different. That's why invisible. He remains the same. Traveler has an exit. He has no intention to get stuck in that physical world. He sees that entire physical world as a story. It's a great story. So but invisible traveler is not deceived. That is the aim. He knows not one atom of that world in the fiction. Not one atom can belong to him, nor can describe him. He remains that immortal and secure traveler, noble in his character. He needs nothing from that story. He lacks nothing. He misses nothing. And he loses nothing. When the invisible traveler returns to his home, he doesn't need to think of the story. There are so many stories, this is just another story. He can put a full stop to the expansion of the story. Complete full stop. He has got a home, and it is a supreme home. He can immerse in that experience. The light of the home and the silence of the home. Immortality of the home. the peace of the home. In this home, there is no vibration of desire. All are noble, all are immortal. For the awake soul, it is normal to know that all are like this, presence, or in the image of a star, and all are noble and all are immortal. That's why this region is the supreme home, home of peace. We realize truth is beautiful, immensely beautiful. As we continue our journey, we aim to remember this truth. Understand the game. This game is won by staying awake. Thank you. Today we are going to have some slides and a discussion using the slides, and most of the discussion will be around the subject of reincarnation seen through the eyes of a scientist, and what is seen in the world of science. But we are going to see the larger phenomena of paranormal seen by scientists. Yeah, we are going to see through science. So there are institutions like Scientific and Medical Network, the Society for Psychical Research. You can see the websites if you want. You can make note of these websites, and these websites connect you to their you know, publications and books and similar institutions. So these are academics from different universities, from science departments, who are interested in paranormal and kind of things that they study and they publish include some of this. Many other areas, but like out of body experiences. These are scientists say that 6% of the population have out of body experiences during the lifetime. 6%, which is 50 million people on this planet. Almost the population of one country like England. And when they have these experiences, they see themselves distinct, separate from the body, often near the ceiling, looking down on the body. So they are seeing this complete separation. They don't have any question afterwards whether they are souls or not, because they saw what it is like to be soul in a sense. Some of them, and they say they used to get it from childhood and they thought everyone else gets it. They can separate from the body, and they were surprised when other friends are not able to do it. Apparition is seeing a dead person. That is apparition. Sometimes there are a group of friends, some 5 friends, they all see. Sometimes just one person sees. Others say, no, what is talking, but they can see. The way they describe it is emotionless and appears to be lifeless person, walking, doing something, but it is harmless also. Telepathy is communication through thoughts, human to animal, through thoughts. They say all of this does happen, so they have no question whether this happens or not. It does happen. Now, question is, how it happens. There are different explanations. Reincarnation is, we are going to see this in more detail. Poltergeist, this is like a term used, knocking. Polter, a German word for knock, so ghost knocking. You hear the sound, something like this, no one in the house, that is poltergeist. But this word is used to larger phenomena. And in these cases, some objects disappear and reappear elsewhere, as if they are moved by someone. That is a phenomenon of poltergeist. Sometimes it happens without their control, as if mind has an influence, but they don't have control on the mind. Psychic healing, possibly some of you have experiences on this. And a healer, he can sort of influence positive change in health. Precognition, seeing the future, miracles. Multiple personality is a term used in the medical literature. One bodily being has got 2 personalities within him, and these 2 personalities, they don't know the lives of each other. As if one is in charge one time, another is at charge another time. It is like this. It is multiple personality. But when this personality changes, the illness of the body also changes. It can disappear with a change of personality. Like someone has allergy. When personality changes, he is free from allergies during those minutes or during that period of time. But comes back next time when the other personality comes back. But some other bigger illnesses, they are as if disappear. Asthma, some he has no problem. The personality changes. Shows you how much influence mind has on the body. Like things like allergies, they don't just disappear within minutes. There are deep reasons for allergies from the medical point of view. But in these cases, change happens in a very short time. So the way we can describe, there is one body and 2 souls using the same body, and we call it multiple personalities. It is not abnormal. Of course, it is different, but they can lead a life quite well. Another person can do life. Like one girl says, she comes back from work and parks the car, and next day she want to go. Car is not there because she herself has used the car, but it's a different personality, and she doesn't know where it was parked. She says, yeah, the car. She has to guess where the other car is parked, and there is no communication between these 2 personalities. Now we come to the subject of reincarnation. But before, and big name in this field is Ian Stevenson. And Ian Stevenson, in 1960s, he was a young psychiatrist at Virginia University, and he came across one 4-year-old child. The mother brought the child because this child was talking about another life, and mother did not know what to do about this. Ian Stevenson studied this child, and based on the information, he was able to locate the family where the other person had died, and studied this family details, and he found that more than 40 facts that this child was referring to, it matched with the reality in the other life. He published that case in the Psychiatry Journal of America in 1962. He got lots of interest from the medical world. He got grants, and as he published more, he got more grants. And as time progressed, he was able to study this phenomena in all 5 continents with the help of many other parapsychologists. And they got an institution within Virginia University called Division of Personality Studies. And under this, they have got more than 24,000 cases now of children who remember another life. They just studied this. These cases are coming from all 5 continents, but some countries have more than other. Burma happens to have more cases than India or other countries. Don't know why, just that these are the situations where they remember. But the phenomena, one case is enough in the science world to create a serious interest in this phenomena. And he has got now 24,000 cases. In some cases, they remember some incidences, but not all. But he has got some 4,000 to 5,000 cases where they remember every detail of the other life. So they know the secrets and everything, and they can tell. So this is like a broad area of his observation. 24,000 cases, they are big numbers. And based on this, you can see interesting patterns. And that is what is of interest for us. Ian Stevenson himself is more like a scientist. He's more trying to understand a phenomena rather than working for a religion or something. In fact, he is more not religious, atheist or agnostic, that kind of position. And his team also, they are similar. Ian Stevenson passed away, I think about 10 years ago, at the age of 89, but most of his life he applied himself seriously. But when he died, he made one experiment. He knew certain number in his office, the combination lock, and that lock was such a complex one that he says only he can remember it, and they are waiting. The Tucker, one who is in charge of the division now, he says no one has come with the claim that he knows the combination lock secret code, so far. So this is like he's a researcher, no? Ian Stevenson. So he has written many books. You can see one photograph there. In fact, you can type this name and you get connected to his original papers and photographs and his books also. Sometimes you can read. Books themselves are very, very science, meant for science reading for scientists, but you can read the summary of it. One pattern is a dream. Mother getting a dream, and the deceased comes in the dream and tells her that I am going to be born to you. That is seen in many places. I have come across 3-4 cases of this kind where dream is involved, and the mother or a close relation gets a dream, but is told exactly where he will be born, and deceased himself comes. Another pattern, they have got philias and phobias. Philia is extreme liking, and phobia, fear. They have extreme liking of everything of the earlier life. They like the gender, they like the culture, they like the food, they like the music, they like that family. Philia, and a strong bond. Phobia, they have fear of the way they died. If they died in water, they have fear of water now. If they died of car accident, they have fear of going into the car. So there is enough phobia. They can cross the borders. That is, they may die in one place, and the next life they are in another part of the planet, different family, different culture, different religion, different nation. They can be anywhere. But large majority are reborn within the same family, and to be reborn in the same community is very common. So there is a pattern of coming back in the larger community or the family that they are you know around, as if that can happen very much. And so reborn in the same community is common, and sometimes in the same family. The death and the rebirth. Often the future mother is already pregnant when the person has died. Sometimes there is a gap. The median time they say is 14 months between the death and the birth. So this is the median time, more like average. And what that tells is, in some cases there is a few months, in some cases many years, and there is a possibility there was possibly another birth in the middle which they do not remember, and they just remember this birth for whatever reason. They remember the exact details, like one child remembers the other life, but not only remembers, she could be telling her mother, "You're not my mother. My mother is someone else, and she's going to come to collect me." She's a bit disappointed. Why mother has not come all this time? They live in the other life, so not just remember. It is not academic for them. For them, it is big uh, injustice that their mother is not here, my family is not there, and they are just kept here in someone else's house for so long. they see it like this. They don't see it as, that was nice academic information. They live in the other life and they see this life as some kind of unfairness.
When that soul, if it stays away for 14 months, where does it go?
In some cases, they say they were in complete silence. They remember as if they being in a extra corporeal existence, but silence, that is common. Even more common, they don't remember anything of that time. But
Okay,
there is
thank
a existence of the souls for a period of time in some cases. 45% of his subjects, they had accidental death, means either an accident or some murder, suicide. So when there is a accidental death, there is a longer gap compared to natural death. So when it is natural death, the other baby fetus, it's already growing somewhere, and then they leave the body when it is ready. It is a bit like that. Whereas in the accidental death, then they have to have an extra corporeal existence before the body is ready.
Thank you.
Mhm. Now, what we are seeing here next is injury from one life is seen into the next life. For example, if a person was shot in the head, and so um, there is uh, so the person died because of being shot in the head. But in this new child that is born with a circular scar in the head, exactly the point where he was shot. So here is an example of one case. He is born without a fingers. But he remembers the life of a boy who lost the fingers in an accident, and remembers in more detail, complete detail. Lots of these children, they start talking about the other life at the age of 2 when they can speak, but gradually they forget the memories. By the age of 6, they have completely forgotten. So that is what happens normally. But in some cases, they remember all their life. This is another case in Thailand. So person was hit on the head, died. This is a person, then child born with varicose nevus in a scar. You will also see the born within the family, that the person was his uncle. Another similar case, but ulcer on the toe, and that continues into the next life. Now, how do we explain this? We are seeing that the body is different. He died to one body, and now he is in a different body. But the common factor is the soul. And in these studies, they are also seeing that all cognitive functions go with the soul. All activity of thinking, emotions, this activity, It is happening in the soul. Soul is the one who is carrying these memories. And as a small example, impression here we are talking about, it is on your mind. You lost your key, it is on your mind. That kind of it is. So that also is another function. Here is a small accident, let us say, and in this accident, person he lost the fingers and dies. But before dying, he loses the fingers. Now it is on his mind. I am without a finger. You lose a key, it is on your mind. You lose a finger, definitely it is on your mind. I lost a finger. And that impression goes with him, stays with him, even though his body has died. And now it influences the embryo and the fetus in the completely new womb, where he is born. Creates a reality, another place. Common factor is the impression going with the soul. Here is another example, an injury to the head, and the impression goes with him, creates the reality of the injury to the head in the fetus. So here is an example of the toe, creates a reality in the toe. Now so far we have seen cases that are all verified in the laboratory, in the medical world. Based on that we are speculating how this will affect our social life. Here is an example of a man who has attachments to his dollars. So every day before going to bed, he opens his bag, counts the dollars. He's very happy. What will be his last impression if he is to die? What will you say?
Kind of loss.
Yes.
Leave it behind.
Good, good. Last impression will be, I'm losing it. I'm going in one direction and one is staying behind. And that impression goes with him. I'm poor. Creates a reality. Because mind is carrying the psychic impression that I am a loser. More the attachment, more is that impression. Here is another case, attachment to children. And so if she is to die, she will, because you are going this way and children are left behind. Until the last moment you can be so happy, oh yes, it's my children. So, but then death is, you are going and you will never see those people again. So this impression created is a loss. And that impression will go with the person. And how will it influence? And what we saw, its influence is the soul is born with the impression, I am without children. And it will influence the future life, where the problem in relationships with children, or even having children. Because the mind is telling you, you've lost children. The psychic impression is this. And then that invites the situation. So here, our present world, where there are attachments to everything, right? They want to own the whole planet. But everyone wants to own there's just one planet and everyone wants to own it. So attachments to money, attachments to people, attachments to possessions and position. So death means you are absolute loser. You worked all your life, you achieved this and you lose it all. So this loss, that is the only cause of misfortune. In the future, more the attachments now, the future is of misfortune. That's why one of the spiritual message is check this. That is like you are a traveler, you have an exit. Don't create bondages and don't create ego. Ego is embodiment of bondage, embodiment of ignorance, ego. And so ego is stuck. You've got everything to lose. Now let us come to the mind of a soul conscious person. He says he's a detached observer, invisible traveler. Invisible traveler is also a guest, invisible observer. Since he's very clever of his exit, he has no intention to own anything, to claim anything. He's a guest. And so when anyone is with that attitude, he has got nothing to lose in the world. He experiences fullness. So at the time of death, person goes with the feeling he has lost nothing. He is full. What he has remains with him. He doesn't feel like, oh, it is poor me, lost this, lost that, I worked and built this house and I'm leaving it behind. These kinds of feelings are ignorance. Person who is in wisdom, he says, nothing there can be mine in ever. I may build it, but it is not mine. That's why owns nothing, loses nothing. So that mind owns nothing, loses nothing. He goes with the impression of fullness and creates the results of fullness. He's born, wherever he's born, with the feelings that he's full. So our meditation has this element. You see you're full at every level, every aspect. Visit the part of your life, your world, truth of the awake soul. He has got a home, he has got family, he has got treasures. His mind is good. Experience the fullness. And everything you got is eternal. You are in the physical world just for the service, to give. you are full. You don't have the slightest question about greatness and fullness of the soul. You want to say anything?
Yes, I will read the questions that I put in the chat box. The question that I asked is, can it be said that the karmic account of the person in the body will determine at point the soul when the soul comes back into another body?
The answer is yes to it. But at this stage, we are trying to see how science is explaining, what the science is saying, and based on that, we are building the rationality. But we'll get a chance to see the spiritual angle to it later.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Is that sometimes some people develop skills and say the skill of say singing or maybe some profession which they're doing very skillfully. Do those sanskaras also get transferred to the next birth? As in, do those impressions also get transferred to the next birth?
Which impressions?
Some skill that you have developed, say music, or say a professional skill or something like that, like an artist or anything professional, does that impression or sanskara also get carried into the next birth? One is the physical possessions or physical things that you've created, and one is at a mental level, a skill that you created or something at a mental level. Does the mental level thing also get transferred into the next birth?
It is seen. Answer is no. In a large majority, no. But we all know there are some great musicians and all from childhood, and the only convincing explanation for this is from the past. But these cases that Ian Stevenson studies, there are no cases of that kind. And ordinary people, they may be some great mathematicians in one life. They may not be mathematicians in the next life. And a housewife doing something else, shopping, something, and there is nothing extraordinary seen.
Lot of people who can, at a very young age, relate the whole of the scriptures or something like that. Don't they bring that from their previous life?
It is likely, but as we said, in these cases of Ian Stevenson, that is not a pattern. That is not happening in everyone.
It's just a question, really. It's just whenever I talk about reincarnation with my uncle, he's an academic, and his argument is always like, well, think of all the millions and millions of people who've died over history. Where do they all go? They're not all going to be able to fit as we are now. That's his argument. But it always prompted the question with me, just do we ever hear stories about people being reincarnated or feeling that they've lived in other planets? Do we always come to this planet, or are there other places?
Sure.
That's all, just.
Yeah, what is seen is all these 24,000 cases, their past has been in human bodies.
Yep.
Yeah, so not even in animal, not one case where there is a history of animal or human, and all on this planet.
Right.
But they can be born in a very different race, different religion, gender, and many things may be very different, but human level. So the cases are like this. There is a pattern of the same community, but not necessary.
In the case of, we say in spirituality that nothing happens in nature in the world accidentally. So in the case of multiple personality syndrome, then how spirituality explains two souls at the same time in one body? Thank you.
Yes, there are some reasons which we do not know. And obviously they got some account of some kind, and there has to be some kind of a bondage of some kind. That's why they have to be together. But in this knowledge, we are just observing the facts. That itself is of interest for us. That reincarnation does happen. Now, other question that comes is, why just 24,000? As was mentioned, millions people have died. And what happens to all of them? What Ian Stevenson feels, just like even those 24,000 people, they forget. After the age of 6, majority have forgotten. So Ian Stevenson feels the phenomena applies to a lot more people. A lot more of us had lived before and are here, in our subsequent reincarnations. But we have forgotten by the age of 2. We might even have remembered it at the earlier age, but by the age we are able to speak, we have forgotten. And so that becomes, that is his explanation. Another giveaway is children's games. Not all children play the same. Some like tractors, some like guns, some like something else. Some want to play games they act like a doctor, some act as a bandit. And there are reasons. In this study, they find the games of the children are 100% connected to their trade in the earlier life. We said earlier, philia, they like everything of the earlier life. They like the culture, they like the gender, they like the trade, whatever they were doing. If they were bandit in the earlier life, in this life, he makes the children, some gang. He trains other children also how to catch and how to rob, and they play games as bandits. Any other thoughts?
I have heard that you're not born into the same gender every time. You can be born as a girl, or if you were a girl in this life, you can be born as a boy the next one. So if a boy is playing with cars and tractors, would that mean that as a girl he was doing the same things then?
Yeah, this gender change is not. It is not strictly an alternate births. It can be. It is seen. Some are boy in the one, man in one life, and boy in the next life also. In some cases, it can be boy to male to female or female to male. But whatever it is, the childhood interest will be based upon the earlier life. If there was one who is a pilot, in this life, he wants to play with aeroplanes. It's like that. He draws aeroplanes, he got all the toys, green aeroplanes, blue aeroplanes everywhere. But he was a pilot in the earlier life.
Yes, it's very unknown for girls to do that. They usually play with dolls.
Yeah, it's girls. Yeah, but there are some tomboys, and what are the tom girls? The girls who want to behave like boys.
Hello. Um, as we have seen, some impressions or the mental impressions in the past life gets carried over to the next life. So I just would like to know how we can make sure that since a very young age, we don't get any impressions on our mind and we become light or uh, uh, make ourselves without any impressions. So me as a mother dealing with the kids, me as a daughter dealing with my parents. So at every relation, how can we make sure that whatever we do does not have any impressions on the other people?
Other people. I have not completely understood the. Is it in connection with the reincarnation, or
Not really. I mean, I'm taking the basis of this reincarnation, where on other slides we have seen that for specific mental impressions, people get carried over in their next life. So let's say if we are talking about, so those impressions come during their daily lives or whatever they see or whatever they think during that lifetime. So I just would like to know that how can we make sure in our current life that whatever we speak with others or whatever we deal with the others, it could be kids, it could be other people, that may not make any bad impression on them, so that after this life, if they go to some other destination, they would not have or they would not possess such impressions. So how can we make sure
sure,
that
sure, sure.
thank you.
And these words and what we speak, this is having very, very little effect on the impression. The real area where the impression is created is during the lifetime. What we are seeing here, the attachments, that is where the impressions are created. And what we are talking, the soul conscious side, understanding the truth, understanding paras, this gives the highest chances of creating the best impressions. Like what we are seeing here right now, the slide that is in front of us. If any of your, say parents or your friends, you want them to have a great future in the next life also, then they have to come in that space of the detached observer. They have to come in this experience, learn to be soul conscious, and learn to know the reality that this is a temporary world. They don't own one atom of this world. Let them bring this impression, this awareness. Every minute counts in this. Every minute they stay in that space. That is creating the impression. Just someone else speaking some nice things, that is not enough. They have to change their belief, their personal belief, belief in attachments and belief in ego. More they do this, they're lucky. We are just seeing one more area here, and that is subject of God. We will talk about it in more detail another time. But say someone has got God in his life, and what will be his last impression? So his mental image is shown in that circle. He is soul conscious. He also knows he has life with, he's awake. He knows he is home. He's loved by the supreme friend. He knows his family. He knows the big things. He knows he has got the best at a real level, eternal level. Story is nice, but it is a story. But he is happy because of the super sensuous reasons. At the time of death, he understands he has got nothing to lose. It is a story. He has zero attachments there. Soul conscious means this. But his inner life experiences feeling of, remember these few words, feeling that his world is perfect. I will repeat these words, but worth underlining this. Feeling that his world is perfect, his world is complete. In every aspect, it is complete. He's got a home, he has got a family, great family, he has got a great father. So complete, full. He got treasures of bliss and love and peace. Feeling is full and beautiful. He knows every aspect is the best. It's not just he got a father, but best father, best family, best mind, supreme home. Every aspect is the best. He feels he's lucky. And at every level, he's lucky. That is the feeling he gets. His region is of love. Everyone is soul. They are harmless and they are childlike. They are worthy of love and they are loving. So feeling of love, and he knows that he's secure forever. He doesn't need to, he's beyond harm. And everything is eternal. No one can change this reality of his. Secure at that level. Eternally safe. There's no end to this. Just see what a big thing we are talking about. We are talking about God here. We are talking about perfection and fullness and immortality. The things of that are best and lucky at a totally another level. Feeling of success, feeling of love and secure, beyond harm, eternal. This is what yoga is. To come into this experience is yoga. Already what we have heard, more we play with it, these are the feelings that will follow. And these are the impressions that continue at the time of death. Ordinary people are so frightened of death, but one who is in this space, he stays with these feelings at the time of death. But these are the feelings go with him wherever he's going to be born. He carries the impressions with him of perfection, feeling complete, full, beautiful, best, lucky, feelings of love, and his world is of love. Everyone is lovely. Feelings of being beyond harm forever. These impressions he is born with. What a great fortune. If you want to make someone lucky, you have to train them so that they come in these experiences. These are the experiences go with him that will create a reality in the future.
Karma you think is a wrong karma that you have done, and you are carrying that impression with you. And you know that you will get the result of the karma. So how to put that karma into a perspective that it is perfect and it is, complete, when you know that it was a wrong karma, for example?
Yeah, sure. We will talk on the subject of karma in more detail, in another session.
All right.
And then this will be addressed properly there.
Okay, thank you.
So a few minutes of attention. And during these minutes, first choice we have, use paras. This is the easiest. When we use paras, the game changes completely. We are seeing this whole physical world as if it is a camel elephant drama, small drama. And the real actors who are acting this camel and elephant drama are the invisible souls. And they are immortal. So everything we saw today, even this gathering here, that is all within that camel and elephant drama. And there is a big reality beyond. For Patthar, that camel and elephant world is everything. That is the absurdity. Ego and all flourishes in that ignorance. In Paras, we are seeing the story a story, but we are able to see the world beyond. And world beyond is subtle, world of light, world of the invisible souls. This is the home. For Paras, this is not a meditation. This is like obvious reality. Paras helps the soul wake up. Awake soul sees his invisible presence. For him, his immortality is normal. To belong to that sky, supreme sky, is normal. To belong to that family, all belong to this one family. This appears natural. And such freedom from the story also appears natural. Story is harmless. Anything may happen in the story, but story cannot harm anyone. And the feeling that they are eternally beyond harm. They silently feel everything is good. What is happening in the story, that is just right. And what is beyond the story, that is supreme. And then the home is eternal and of silence, home of love. Everyone appears worthy of love. Desireless, sorrowless, egoless, childlike. All are worthy of love and loving. So feeling is all are good and everything is good. This is when we call it supersensuous experiences. Feelings of silent bliss. Silent peace. Awake soul is not trying to change the story. Many things, different episodes. Episodes themselves finish and another episode begins. He's not crying for the past episode. It's a story. Paras finds it easy to live in the real world So we spoke of these 8, 10 feelings of the yogi. What's the underlining? It is yogi. Who is the yogi? The soul. Awake soul is a yogi. In the story, Prashant and all is part of this camel elephant script. There are no yogis in that story. All cognitive functions happen in the soul. So the tiny star, that presence, invisible presence, he discovers that his world is perfect. Not just his little world, he's not saying just sometimes is perfect. Feeling is of perfection as it comes. The drama is also as a drama, just right. And the sky is just right. Everyone is good. And is feeling of perfection. So let us grasp this perspective of the soul. Perfect, complete. That's why he lacks nothing. It is complete. Everything there. Full. The ultimate treasures are of bliss and peace and contentment. That's why complete, full, beautiful. He feels this is a region of love. Things don't change. People don't change their minds. No one changes their moods. It is a region of love. For love, dynamics of love, very important factor is feeling secure with each other. This dimension is beyond harm, and they are harmless. Natural state is of love for each other. And so when they are in the drama, they know that these are the same souls in the drama. But the feeling is being loved and loving. Feeling of lucky. It's a huge prize. There is no comparison to this prize. So this is a reality of truth, not just a story. Something nice in a story. You get a gold in a story or a theater drama. But this is a reality. You are in the real world. So feeling of full, feeling of treasures, feeling of perfection, being lucky, and he knows this security and being beyond harm. This is forever. Every aspect is forever. Within that, another energy there is a feeling of success. Just that energy of success. And all these are relevant because, as we saw so far, if at a subtle level you are creating the impression, I'm empty, then physical world is a reflection. You get emptiness. If at a subtle level you are saying, I lost a finger, just a thought, that is impression we are talking, not just superficial thought, but deeply, deep impression that I am without finger. It get a body without a finger. So at a deep level, there is a feeling you are a being of success. You got this ultimate success, ultimate prize. So that energy of success will influence your physical reality. Yoga is this. It is playing the game the right way. We are not running away from the physical world, but working at all levels. If you want a fruit, you have to water the seed. When you work at the seed, you get fruit. You just pluck fruit, you will get one fruit, but you will not get fruits next season. But if you water the seed, you will get fruit for long period of time. Something similar here. You are paying attention to the seed. What we are talking about, our subtle reality, that is the seed. Paras helps you to connect to that subtle experience, the full perfection that exists. That itself is a prize, but it will have repercussions at all levels.
Yeah, when he has Paras intellect, and if he has, as you mentioned, that got no fingers, his fingers are cut away, so for some accident, and even if he forgets about this episode that this happened to him, and he goes when he's reborn, will he have this memory that I had this incident in the past?
Good. If a person is soul conscious, it doesn't create an impression in him. Memory is one thing, but deep impression is not created. Not everyone who loses fingers loses the fingers in the next life. These are some cases. So more there is identification with the body, deeper is the impression. So if ego are not there, then these impressions don't exist.
Yeah. My question is just, what are the implications if you were to take your own life? What would be the impact on your next life?
Sure. As we said, we will take this karma factor in more detail, in other sessions. But enough to know that taking one's life is act of violence, and you are whatever is the old account, on top of this there's another account of creating violence, and so it becomes a negative account. One doesn't go back to the home just because one committed suicide. There is a rebirth, reincarnation, but just it goes further down the hierarchy, social hierarchy, the next birth. The suicide always happens. In the initiation of the suicide is by the ego, false identity. False identity is taking offense of in some way, feel affected by some situation, and he feels this body and the role is creating problem to him, and so he's happy to finish the body. But situations, we cannot bypass the situations. They come back to us, so we have to face it in the next life. So seen from spiritual position, those who commit suicide, they are creating more problems to themselves.
Prashant, has spirituality got any answer for people, for gay and lesbians who feel that they might be a woman or they might be a man. Is there any
How to explain
explanation,
this?
please?
Okay. As we were explaining just now, the souls do change the gender. So in one life there is one gender, and they got attachment to the culture. They have attachment to the whole thing, family, philia. We said they like everything, music, food, including the gender. And when the gender changes in the next life, then the body is different, but for some period of time during childhood, they still continue with the identification with the old gender. That happens for some. And then after some time, they adapt to the new gender and become different. The identity changes. But in some people, it doesn't change the structure of the society, whatever it is, that sort of holds them. There is an imbalance, and that is what is happening. And there is, as an adult, they are holding on to the identity based on the earlier life.
To a certain extent, Prashant has already answered the question, because my question was that we like to believe that whatever happens to you in your next life is very much influenced by your past karmic accounts, and the kind of life you lead and what you are is very much dependent on your past karmic accounts. So I'm not quite sure how this whole business of what you think and all that, how does that come in your next life?
Yes, very good. We'll go in more detail also, in our some sessions afterwards. But at this stage, enough for us to know that our journey is long, and the reincarnation is a very serious concept in a world which is dominated by science and dominated by the ideas of Darwin and all. This is a new thing, and it is good for us to see that this is not just a concept, this is a big reality, and we need to plan it that way. One professor here by name Penrose, he said, if Ian Stevenson is right, we all are wrong. He is talking about science world, because he shows how the existence of the soul, it has not evolved through the process of natural selection. It exists at another level, and it doesn't fit in within the Darwinian thinking or evolution or present biology. So if this is true, then we should stop teaching evolution and Darwinism and Big Bang. This is what happens. So that's what he was saying. If Ian Stevenson is right, we all are wrong. And this thinking will dominate as time progresses. We said already science is showing 50 million people have out-of-body experiences. Many other paranormal phenomena. So once we understand it now we will get a chance to also understand how we can plan in a big way, properly, not in a sort of a superficial spirituality, but how we can take it really seriously and put a real strong foundation for our own future. But also, if we are to help anyone, what is the right level of help? What they can really do? Otherwise, we can think, we hope something will be nice for others, but maybe not nice. As we have seen here, someone creates attachment to his money, he actually ends up poor. So is it right to give a gift of money to someone when it will just lead to more attachments? These are all questions that come. The attachment to people, is this the right to promote it? With the best intention, or is it better to have a little freedom in ourselves and from others also, not to encourage attachment in others? All these questions, it gives us the insight, but underline those 10 factors we spoke about. The yogi experiences where he comes to these super sensuous experiences that are the rich and highest. And if you live with this, and that is what your life is, that is what will go with you beyond. And that is a good news. I know time is over. Over to Sarah. It will be nice to hear some thoughts from Sarah also.
Thank you. It was really helpful to just acknowledge the existing model that we operate in without realizing it. It seems so dominating, powerful, but I've personally found it really helpful to see the link with science. It's a bit like having stabilizers, because intuitively it feels right that there must be a long journey for the soul, that there is a soul, but somehow the atmosphere is so persuasive in the science way of thinking. So it's coming back again to see how evidence does stack up. And the aspect of having yoga with success and how that reflects in the physical reality is extremely beautiful to go into the depths of, that this invisible traveler that doesn't die, and the impressions of fullness go with that traveler. It's so reassuring, because one insecurity may be, will I lose this knowledge, for example? But having received it is the first thing, having understood it. But when the experiences are made vivid and alive, and it becomes your reality, that is going with this invisible traveler, and nothing could be more secure than that. But of course, it does leave this question around karma, and if we haven't worked on that, and then the impressions of loss. So that's a useful wake-up call to the practical reality of this perspective, to grapple with it first of all, to question it, to make it it should be rational, and then we're more likely to engage with it and really make it a practical truth. So yeah, it's a really rich subject. And if anyone would like to share final comments, if not, we may close here. I think we all have a lot of food for thought. Actually, it would be nice to hear from Prashant a homework for today.
Homework, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Homework will be based on those 10 things we spoke of, to revisit those 10 things and And not just the words, but let the soul, using the paras, comes in the experiences of it. Not the ego going into the chant of these words, but the soul, with the help of paras, sees the reality of this. That is what makes the impressions deeper. So just as yesterday we spoke of certain practices every hour, create time every hour to just go through the list of these 10 impressions. The awake soul knows that his world is perfect. That is one. His world is complete in different aspects, complete. He got a home, he got a father, he got family. His world is full. Different treasures, most refined treasures are of bliss and the security and peace. He knows that his world is beautiful. The feeling of everyone being beautiful, virtuous. He knows that every aspect he got everything is best. He's not getting something less. Family is the best, father is the best, home is the best. He knows he's lucky. To get a prize like this, one is lucky. His world is of love. Everyone is worthy of love. Everyone is loving. We are talking about soul here, and we are talking about this reality. So he's understanding the region is of love, and no one changes the mind and moods. So this is the world that is harmless and secure. The world of success. The feeling is of success and forever. Immortality.